They're gorgeous, aren't they? My little marigolds, they've finally come up. I can see another bud just starting to form. Dobro da ste došli. Oh, it's good that you have come. This week is just glorious. The weather has been beautiful and sunny, and so many things have started to bounce back with regular water and a bit of TLC. It's a lovely spot to sit in the morning, enjoying your cuppa and enjoying the plants.
Bok, I'm Mandy O. This is Grow, Make, Cook, and welcome to my garden. I grew up in Australia in a permaculture family, but after we got married, Mr. O and I moved here to his home country of Croatia. I am a passionate and hands-on homemaker and gardener, and I love life's simple pleasures. So join me on my journey, and together we can learn to grow, make, and cook.
Taking my produce from the garden to the kitchen has characterized this week, which is the third week in August, or Kolovoz. I am sorry to say that a lot of these, the annuals particularly, I don't think are ever going to bounce back. This certainly isn't. This is my endive, which was beautiful, a glorious plant, and it had glorious flowers, but they're just not coming back. And these are annual plants. This is my kale and the endive. So I think I'm going to have to clear this half of this bed, and we're going to have to start planting new things, I think, because you can't eat this. I discovered that these dead endive flowers were completely full of seeds. These aren't just spent flowers, they're not just dead, these are completely full. So I've decided we're having a little stop and we're going to collect some seeds so that I can save some, and I will sow some now in this other bed. But what an unexpected surprise! You always have to be on the lookout for opportunities to save your own seed, and this one's a goodie. We love a bit of endive. These really are the fruits of the season. If there's one thing for me that screams summer, it's fresh tomatoes. And I think we're going to make a great big fry up. I've got beans and basil, zucchinis and tomatoes. I think we'll just call it a summer fry. Let's go and grab some more ingredients. And I'm grabbing from just in here some vegeta, which is that beautiful Croatian hybrid between parsley and root celery. Yum. And a whole lot of basil. Nothing makes a tomatoey sauce into a delicious sauce like loads of fresh basil. Yum. Rosemary. It's going to be a real bouquet, this. And my last herb that I'm collecting for this from this little bit is some fresh oregano from down here. I can't believe we only planted this a couple of weeks ago. Growing like mad in the sun. It's so warm and such delicious fragrance. The lovely thing about herbs fresh from the garden is that the more you cut them and the more you use them, the more you get. Ah, delightful. Looks like sauce to me. Let's go to the kitchen.
The first thing to do is just to chop up the main parts of vegetables into bite-sized pieces. I've got too many beans that I've picked here, but just into something that will fit on a fork and go into your mouth nicely. And then I'm just going to pop all that zucchini and the beans into the fry pan, just so that they can cook for a little bit first, just to fry off some of the water really. While that sizzles away in the background, I'm just starting to prep my tomatoes. I know a lot of people like to remove the skins from their tomatoes, but I actually don't mind the texture of cooked tomato skin. I've also got the water on the boil for the pasta that will go with this to add the bulk. But this as a sauce can go really nicely on meat if you'd prefer, or over. It's really good with quinoa and lentils cooked together. Basically anything where you would have a really thick, chunky sauce, this will work with. We're just going to throw that tomato in now that this is starting to soften up really well. And the liquid from the tomato is going to create really all the liquid that you need for this. It's not really a sauce as you would think of it to put on pasta. It's more like a hot pasta salad, where pasta is just the thing that fills you up as opposed to the main part of the meal. I'm just stripping the leaves off of this rosemary, and what I have here is the vegeta, which is just chopped, the stem and the leaves. I'm using the whole thing. You can use quite a lot of vegeta, the leaves and the stem, because it's a hybrid. Not the root though, that's quite bitter, but you can use quite a lot of that plant. If you don't have vegeta, you could substitute a combination of both celery stalks and parsley leaves, which would give you a very similar flavor in this recipe. I'm just going to throw all this in the pan and let it simmer down. I'm just dicing all the rest of my herbs. That's my oregano, my chives and my basil. The smells coming off here are just delicious. Now, I'm not worried about chopping them too fine. It's quite rough and coarse, great big chunks. It's almost like a salad. This is going to go into the fry pan because my pasta is almost finished. So this goes in fairly close to the end so that it just jumbles together and you keep all that lovely, fresh, salady quality to the herbs. Going to turn the heat off now that all my herbs are in, and add a drizzle of olive oil. I'm then just stirring through that pasta and olive oil so that everything is well combined and coated in the beautiful herby liquid. A sprinkle of cheese on top just to finish, and this is a done dinner.
We've actually had such large bean harvests that I have produce to spare. There's no way that just Mr. O and I can get through all of these beans. So I'm snapping them to freeze them, which is quite traditional because we're not terribly fond of dilly beans, which are pickled, and to preserve them in a jar, say, would require a pressure canner, which we don't actually have. So, frozen beans it is. It's a good thing though. This variety, Violetta, really unfreezes nicely. I'm harvesting these elderberries really to go into the freezer. Now, you don't actually want stems in your elderberry cordial or jams or whatever you end up making from them, but I'll separate those later. For now, we're just trying to make sure that we get some, because the birds have ravaged these bushes. They're loving them, but I'd like some for me too, because elderberries are one of my cold fighting home remedies of choice, and I like them made up into a syrup which you can freeze and then just add an ice cube of syrup into a drink. I think maybe we'll do that soon. Next week maybe? I am thankful for this harvest. It's so nice to live in abundance. I hope you find time this week to find something that you're grateful for. The abundance doesn't necessarily have to be material. It could be an abundance of good times with your family or friends. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful week this week. And if you like what we're doing, please like the video. Remember to use the bell icon down the bottom if you want notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time then, do widzenia.